Roy Williams is a marketing man. His clients want to buy whatever advertising sells the most product.
It's Rick Dees in the morning. All communication should be poetic. Bring him in, please. Roy Williams!
Essential to any company is the ability to get your message out. My guest says, don't give up hope. Joining me now is Roy Williams.
Yes, so how do you speak in poetry to people and get them to do things you want them to do?
Here to talk about the advantages of radio advertising is the author of a new book called The Wizard of Ads.
Joining me is Roy Williams. Today we're talking about his book, Secret Formulas of the Wizard of Ads. This is one of the most important books that anybody can read.
What makes people do the things they do? More importantly, how can we get people to do what we want them to do? With another part of the answer to that question, here's the Wizard of Ads, Roy H. Williams.
We've talked about the brain. We've talked about Broca's area of the brain. We've talked about surprising Broca with unusual combinations of unpredictable words. And that's the key that unlocks the door into the imagination. Now, we're going to get very practical for a few minutes. We're going to talk about choices that you will make every time you put together a sales presentation or write an ad. Now, what we have to do is we have to first realize that this is not a checklist, that if you make the same choice every time, that was foolish. You see, the same choice every time is predictable. And predictability is what Broca hates. Broca can't stand the predictable. Broca is delighted by unusual, unexpected things. So whenever I give you these 7 choices that you have to make, I want you to think of these as not rules. And please never choose the same way each time. Think of these as choices, left or right, green or red, north or south, up or down. There's not a good and a bad, a right and a wrong, except in 1 or 2 of these. You see, the first of these choices is intellect versus emotion. Both of these are good things. There's not a wrong choice. It's just that intellect and emotion are as radically different as sight and sound. They are stored, processed, and retrieved from entirely separate parts of the brain. We tend to think of the emotions as coming from the heart, but technically, they both come from the brain. Now, an intellectual ad must present new information in an attempt to lead listeners to a new conclusion. Now, what we mean by this is if you tell a person the same thing they've heard lots and lots and lots of times before, they will continue to make the same decision that they've made time and time and time again. So if you're going to speak to the intellect, if you're going to win the mind and hope that the heart follows, what you must do is you must make absolutely sure that you're giving them new information. Because what appears to be a person changing their mind is actually impossible. You see, people cannot change their mind. They can only make new decisions based upon new information. Without new information, there will be no new decision. Now, unsubstantiated claims will kill an ad instantly. You see, we tend to speak in broad generalities. We tend to tell people what we think they want to hear, but we very rarely ever prove those things. Right now, at this particular point in time, there's a campaign happening nationwide that I am absolutely stunned by the beautiful visual impressiveness of this campaign, and I see it everywhere I go in America. Dodge, different. So name a difference! You see, that's an unsubstantiated, vague, ambiguous claim until you name a difference. But if Dodge said, Dodge, different, with polarized windshields to reduce nighttime driving glare, Dodge drivers have fewer after-dark accidents. Ah. If they said, Dodge, different, with stainless steel exhaust systems from engine to rear bumper, Dodge drivers never have to see the Midas Man. Ah. Both of those, by the way, are true. Now, why doesn't Dodge tell us the specifics that would substantiate this claim of being different? Ah, but what about emotional ads? My real favorites. Because, see, I believe that if you win the heart, the mind will follow. And emotional ads don't actually introduce new information. What they do is they tell us what we've always known to be true. They confirm what we have long suspected. You see, emotional ads don't present new information in the hope to lead us to a new conclusion. Emotional ads tell us what we've always known, but make us feel differently about it. This is the genius behind Tom Bodett for Motel 6. You see, Tom Bodett never once told us something we didn't already know. Tom Bodett always told us what we had always known. You see, we already knew that Motel 6 was the lowest price of any national chain, about $24 in most places, a little more in some, a little less in others. Now, how many times have you ever heard that? You already knew it. But when Tom Bodett shared with you what you already knew and made you feel a little differently about it, gave you a different perspective on the information, suddenly you began to feel differently about Motel 6. Now, why did they do that? It's because Motel 6 had the courage to answer the question honestly, a question that should be asked of every advertiser. The people who are not doing business with you, is it because they don't know about your business? Or is it because they do? You see, we already knew about Motel 6, and that's exactly why we didn't stay there. We didn't want to admit that we were that poor, or that we were that tight, that we had to spend $24 for an evening's rest. The problem wasn't an intellectual problem. We had all the intellectual information. The problem was an emotional one. You see, Tom Bodett didn't change what we thought about Motel 6. They changed how we feel. That campaign's been going now for 15 years. One of the most brilliant emotional campaigns in the history of American advertising. Now, the second copy choice, the one that you will always have to make, intellect versus emotion being number one, will you win the heart or will you win the mind first? Typically, if you win the heart, the mind will follow. Winning the mind and hoping the heart will follow is a little trickier, but sometimes it's the path you have to take. Now, the second copy choice will be the time reference. Is it then or is it now? Is it then in the past? Is it then in the future? Or is it right now? You see, the power, and remember Broca's area of the brain, present tense, verbs. Wait a minute, there's that verb thing again. Verbs. Verbs are the words that we attach to the actions that we're trying to describe. And until that customer sees themselves do in their mind what it is you want them to do, there is no chance that they can actually take that action. They have to see themselves taking the action in their mind. Now, verbs, Broca's area again. You have a choice to make every time you write a sales presentation or an ad. What is the time reference? Is it past tense? Is it future tense? Or is it present tense? Interestingly enough, all three of these are acceptable, but the real power is in present tense verbs. You see, the past tense speaks of what has already happened. I was. The future tense, however, speaks of what might happen. I will. The present tense, though, speaks of what is happening and happening right now. I am. It is the present tense of a verb that engages Broca's area of the brain and activates the visuospatial sketchpad. Now, the third copy choice you'll have to make is, who are we going to talk about? Are we going to talk about me? Are we going to talk about them? Or are we going to talk about the listener, the customer? Are we going to talk to the prospect about the prospect? Are we going to talk to the dog in the language of the dog about the dog? You see, the power is in the second person. Please don't make this choice every time, or what will you have done? You will have become predictable. Danger, Will Robinson. Broca hates predictability. Broca hates always knowing what's going to happen next. Now, the first person perspective is that of the speaker. I am standing. Third person perspective is that of neither the speaker nor the listener. They, somebody else, is standing. But second person perspective is that of the listener, the prospect across the table from you, the listener, the viewer on the other end of the TV or the radio. You are standing. You are standing in the snow, 5½ miles above sea level, gazing at a horizon hundreds of miles away. The fourth copy choice is time versus money. If the American public were as consumed with the saving of money as we pretend they are, there would be no such thing as convenience stores. But the simple truth is that we knowingly, cheerfully, and willingly pay vastly more for what we could have bought across the street at a much lower price. But you see, if we went across the street to the grocery superstore instead of 7-Eleven, there's a chance that woman would have been there with that basket full of stuff, and that we would have had to wait 3 or 4 or 5 minutes for her to get checked out. There's a chance, you see, that, well, not a chance. We're certain that we would have had to park at least 40 paces further away from the front door. We didn't want to take those 40 paces. We didn't want to invest the time. And on the outside chance that woman might be ahead of us in the checkout line at the grocery superstore, we'll cheerfully pay 40 or 50% more to save what? Time. You see, as my partner Penny so often says, time and money are interchangeable. You can always save one by spending more of the other. Intellect and emotion, time and money are interchangeable. Intellect and emotion, as one increases, the other decreases. As emotion goes up, intellect goes down. When you're being highly emotional, you're being less intellectual. When you're being highly intellectual, you're being unemotional. Time and money, you can always save one by spending more of the other. Name it. You can save money if you spend more time. You can save time if you spend more money. In an ad, you have to choose, will I speak to the saving of time or will I speak to the saving of money? Because if you make both claims, you'll not be believed. Make one claim and prove it. Put all your eggs in one basket and then guard that basket. Now, copy choice number 5 is whether you will make your statements in active or in passive form. Now, this is English 101. This is actually a little bit tedious, a little bit boring. But stay with me. Because once again, it has to do with the function of a verb. There we are, verbs again, action words, Broca's area of the brain. You see, active voice is what happens when the subject of the sentence performs the action. But most of us speak, most of us think, most of us make presentations and suggestions in what's called passive voice. And passive voice is what happens when the subject of a sentence is acted upon by the verb. Now, in this first sentence, the sword is carried by me. The sword, the letters in gold, that's the subject of the sentence. It is acted upon by the verb carry. The sword, the subject, is carried by me. That's what's called passive voice. That's what most of us are guilty of most of the time. But selling is nothing more than transferring confidence. That's all selling really is, because the only reason a customer ever says no is because they lack confidence. When you have confidence that today is the right day, that's the right price, this is the right station, now's the right time, that's the right ad, and it's going to work, you say yes. When your prospect says no, it's only because they lack confidence. Your job, your only job in the world, is to know in your heart of hearts that you're right, to have confidence that this is the right thing to do, that it's positively the right thing to do, and to transfer that confidence. To in your heart know you are right. And if you're not sure of that, then don't make any more sales calls until you are sure of it. Because when you try to convince somebody to do something that you don't truly believe in with your whole heart, you have just become a professional liar. None of us want to be that, and your employers don't want you to be that. They want you to truly have confidence. That's why you're watching this seminar right now, so that you can know in your heart that these people believing what I'm saying, these people doing what I'm asking them to do, it is the highest and best use of their money. It is the smartest thing they could possibly do. Now, if you want to transfer confidence, you have to speak in what's known as active voice. That's the way you need to write, whether it's ads or presentations. That's when you make a presentation, you need to make sure that the subject of a sentence performs the action of that sentence. You need to say, not the sword is carried by me, but you need to say, I carry the sword. Now, they both said the same thing, but one said it in active voice. Look, when the subject of the sentence performs the action, I is the subject of that second sentence. It performs the action. The verb is subjective to that subject of the sentence. I carry the sword. Fortunately, in Word, which is on most of your computers, you'll find that it actually will check for passive voice sentences. And it will warn you when you have constructed a sentence in passive voice. And it will suggest to you how to rearrange that sentence into active voice. If you have not selected that as part of the grammar check, do so on your computers immediately, because it will help you to transfer confidence. Now, the sixth copy choice is style versus substance. Now, these are different things. These are diametrically opposed. They are inversely proportionate, exactly the way that we were talking earlier about intellect and emotion, or time and money, or opportunity and security, or sight and sound. You see, style and substance. In recent years on television, there have been several campaigns, but there are these 5 that are actually very similar. A lot of fluff, not a lot of real information, not a lot of proof of anything, just a lot of style. The first of these was the Nike campaign. Whenever you saw these Nike ads, you would see these athletes doing these amazing things, things we wish we could do. And it would say, Nike, just do it. Now, they weren't selling you shoes. They were selling you a self-image. They were selling you an identity. Why would you buy Nike? It's because you want to be one of those people. Gatorade, same campaign. They would show you those same athletes doing those same amazing things, but they're sweating orange sweat or blue sweat. And it said, Gatorade, is it in you? Now, you don't know what's in Gatorade. You don't know how it tastes. You don't even care. But if Gatorade's the kind of drink us people drink, then I need some Gatorade. Now, wait a minute. Same basic concept is what's happening in all the ads for the Gap. You see, the Gap. A bunch of kids dancing around in these khakis. Khakis that look like anybody else's khakis. The Montgomery Wards, JCPenney, Sears, everybody makes khakis. So why are khakis from the Gap any better? Because these are good-looking kids doing some really cool dance moves. We don't know anything about the pants. Now, this is just fluff. This is nothing more than style. Just style. Style is the only thing being communicated here. There is no substance to any of these campaigns. Likewise, when you saw the Taco Bell campaign, you know, you saw the little dog, oh, yo quiero Taco Bell. You know, wait a minute. That's just style. And the same thing with the little Japanese man and the dog for Nissan. Dogs love trucks. And you're sitting there and you're going, you know, and we don't know anything about the Nissan, but I like the little Japanese man. And the Jack Russell Terrier, that reminds me of Eddie on Frasier. Now, wait a minute. Those first 3 campaigns, I believe, are doing just fine. But those last 2, the ones for Taco Bell and Nissan, danger, Will Robinson, huge problems, dangerous failures. Why? Because products that are mostly style can be sold with ads that are mostly style. You can sell fluff with fluff. But when a product has substance, it's the food you take into your body, the food you eat. You're thinking about nutrition, preservatives, cholesterol, fat, sodium. You're thinking about, hey, little Chihuahua, tell me what's in the taco. I need to know what's in the taco. Now what happens is, when the product is an automobile, hey, you don't ask me for $20,000 and then not tell me about the car. I'll pay $50 for perfume, Obsession by Liz Taylor. And they show you these beautiful pictures and play some beautiful music. You can sell fluff with fluff. If the only thing you're trying to sell is an identity, a lifestyle, a cigarette, a soft drink, Gatorade, Nike, you're just trying to sell a statement of identity. And it's not a lot of money. You can sell that. You can sell pure style with pure style. You don't have to have substance. You don't have to have proof. It's just a look. It's just a feeling. It's just a smell. But hey, when we're talking about things with substance, make sure those ads have substance. It's a choice you have to make. You have to say, is what I'm selling style, or is what I'm selling substance? And if it's a little of both, then make sure that the ads contain both. But most of the time in those ads, you'll see a lot of style and no substance. The 7th copy choice is a very tricky one. And this is the one to where it's the choice between correct and correct. It's the choice between right and right. But I have to tell you when pain is right, and I have to tell you when gain is right. Pain is right when you're face to face. Now, I have a lot of confidence and a great deal of belief in what's called the Sandler selling system. There's very highly paid consultants that teach sales training. Now, this is not an endorsement for Sandler because their advertising tends to underperform, but their sales training tends to be spectacular. And it's because they teach you to shoot little pain bullets. You see, Kahneman and Tversky were researchers at the University of Chicago who proved conclusively that speaking to pain in a sales presentation face-to-face was incredibly compelling. You see, the population of our nation is not drawn toward opportunity, they're drawn toward security. This is the very sad but simple truth. My favorite example from Kahneman and Tversky was this. A room full of people is told, you've been given a choice. You can have $3,000 cash right now, we'll give it to you. Or you can have an 80% chance at $4,000. 80% chance that you get $4,000, a 20% chance that you'll walk away empty-handed. Which will it be? 9 out of 10 people choose the sure $3,000. Oh, no, I don't want to lose the sure $3,000. Even though mathematically, option B is better. You see, the odds are you're going to get $4,000. Wait a minute. 80% times 4,000 is 3,200. There's your mathematical proof. But 9 out of 10 people say, no, I don't want to lose the sure 3,000. But when you reverse the question, you see, the fear of loss is compelling. The fear of loss is overwhelming. We will take risks to avoid loss that we will not take in the hope of gain. Now, when they reversed the question and they said, there's been a disaster, an unexpected disaster, and you have to come up with $3,000 immediately. It's going to cost you $3,000. You don't have a choice. You have to come up with it right now. Or there is option B. There's an 80% chance it's going to cost you $4,000. A 20% chance you get off scot-free. Now 9 out of 10 people choose option B. We will take a chance to avoid pain that we would not take in the hope of gain. When you're face-to-face, what do you have that you don't have in mass media? And I told you that most of the time there's a choice. This is the one time the choice has already been made for you. When you are face-to-face, yes, you can, if you want, speak to the pain, but never do that in mass media advertising. Never. Because in a face-to-face selling situation, when you put a person in touch with their fears, they do not have the option of just walking away from you. They do not have the option of just turning on their heel and marching off over the horizon. The rules of our society do not allow for that. But when they're sitting on the car seat listening to that radio, they have no such compunction about hitting the button. When they are sitting on the sofa watching that TV ad, they'll bang that remote the split second that an uncomfortable mental image enters their consciousness. Oh, this is unpleasant. Click. Oh, this is unpleasant. Bang that button. Now, what am I trying to say? While the fear of loss is far more compelling than the hope of gain, speaking to pain is very dangerous, as it conjures an unpleasant mental image. This image is very often what becomes associated with the product. I'll tell you, a number of months ago, there was a McDonald's ad on television for a while, a classic example of a very tragic strategic mistake. It was a patrol car shining the searchlight into the back of a bunch of car windows up at Makeout Point. And it showed, a bunch of steamed up windows, and every time the searchlight would shine into the back of the car, a guy and a girl would raise up, and they had obviously been caught doing what their parents had hoped they wouldn't do. But you know what happened? Towards the end of the ad, they shine the light into the back window of this car. You see this guy, and it looks like he's really putting it on this girl, and he raises up, and he's a big fat guy eating a Big Mac. And everybody laughs, fat guy eating a Big Mac, and everybody else is making out. But who wants to be that guy? What is the real message of this ad? Big Mac. Consolation prize for people too ugly and unattractive to get a date. And that's really the ad here. Don't speak to the pain. I mean, everybody laughed, but nobody wanted to be that guy. Did you know how desperately Burger King was damaged a number of years ago in what's known as the Herb campaign? Some of you may be old enough to remember. Herb, pocket protector, the goofy glasses, the buck teeth, the high water pants, I mean, Herb was the guy that none of us wanted to be. And everybody laughed at Herb, and everybody thought it was cute, but nobody wanted to be Herb. And the longer they played those ads, the fewer people ate at Burger King. Now, not one of those who would say, well,
The reason I don't eat at Burger King is because of Herb.
No one said that. Intellectually, they found other. I'm just burned out on it. No, 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 no. When the heart and the mind will follow, push away the heart, and the mind will find logic to justify the decision the heart has already decided. And the heart had decided, I don't want to be Herb. I don't want to go where Herb goes. I don't want to do what Herb does. I don't want to be that fat guy on Makeout Mountain, the only guy in the car without a date. So never, ever speak to pain, ever, in mass media. Maybe there's one time in 1,000 where it could be done intelligently. Maybe there's one time in 1,000 where you could do it and get away with it, because there's really no such term as the word never when it comes to advertising. But please understand, when you're talking about pain in mass media, you're playing with nitroglycerin. But more about that in the next video.
That's all for this section. Don't miss the next installment of The Wizard of Ads Academy.